once appointed, are you a justice or are you justice for life?
The age of retirement in our country is 70. I think it's good because, you know, we work very hard, and after that we maybe take care of our family, children, and although they are not young children, but in order to have the chance to tour around the world and to meet nice people like you. This.
Question is, does the court deal with cases of Israeli citizens living abroad? And if so, what kinds of cases? I'm not sure what, I guess, well, cases of...
If he is related to the country, maybe he has properties in the country and he is living outside, of course, he can come to the court, no problem.
Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate on how much authority the religious tribunals have on issues that affect state jurisdiction? I'm not sure.
Well, they do not have any state jurisdiction. They are allowed only to deal with personal status cases only, marriage and divorce cases. And I know that they respect our rulings because sometimes we have the right to overview their rulings, although they are independent. But we are sometimes asked by one of the parties who appeared before the religious court that he was not, for example, given the right to argue or to be heard in this court. Then in this point of view, not in the materials, but in this procedure, but it is very important to us that everyone who goes to this court should be heard. And if it's not happening, then he can come to the court. And in this specific case, we may return the case to the religious court, asking them to hear this petitioner.
So procedural issue.
Procedure, not material.
Do you think Israel's democracy would be strengthened by having a written constitution?
Well, first of all, it's a good idea to have written constitution, but unfortunately, and because of many reasons, this will not be happening in the future. But in spite of this fact, the democracy in our country is very strong without the constitution. It would be better if we will have this, but we don't have it until now.
What impact, if any, does the Supreme Court have on Israeli politics?
Well, usually we do not deal with politics. It's the better idea. Although sometimes politicians come to the court asking for help, but we don't deal with political issues. It's the better way to do it.
Is more than one retrial allowed in any one case? You mentioned, I think it references your point about permitting a retrial in the case of new evidence. Can somebody come back to the court a second time or a third time?
No, it's one time. It's enough one time. We don't need. He may ask one time, but that's all. Otherwise, he is a lawyer who would be training, or in this case, you know, maybe.
Can you expand a bit on your efforts to unify Israelis and Jews and Arabs and Israelis and Palestinians in Israel through the organizations that you've been involved with? I guess
you know,
speak a little about.
In all the places, in all the organizations that I was part of it, it was not political because we are not allowed as judges to talk about politics. But in our social life, I'm very active in many organizations, like Rotary, for example. We have a special department which deals with strengthening the relations between Jews and Arabs. And I can say that we are succeeding to make this a reality. And I always give a good example about the town that I live, Haifa. Haifa is one of the most beautiful cities in our country, not only because it's a beautiful city, but because the mixture of population in the city. Jews and Arabs, Muslims and Christians lives in the same city, and we use every year during December to celebrate the holidays of all the religions. We celebrate the Hanukkah for the Jewish community, Christmas for our Christian community, and the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. And we meet together and make activities together, and we invite each other. I sometimes, many times, invite my neighbors, the Jews and Muslims, to see the Christmas tree and to get the presents from Papa Noel, and you know, and all the chocolates, and you know, it's good to have the Swiss chocolates. And in Passover, I invited to my neighbor who is Jewish to Leila Seder, and also I was invited to my Muslim neighbor in his holiday. This is the way how to not only live together, but enjoy living together. And we are trying all the time to find the golden path and the magic formula for this peaceful coexistence by using two very important words. One is respect, and the other is tolerance. Thank you.
Okay, we have two more. I'm sorry, we can't get to everybody's question, but two more. But this one I know you'll enjoy answering. What happened to the Israeli man who was sent to jail for 20+ years for refusing to give his wife a Jewish divorce, a get?
You know, according to the law, if the husband will not give his wife the get, according to the Jewish tradition, he should be sent to prison. And in one case, yes, until he says yes, that's the formula. And that gentleman didn't like this idea, and he spent 30 years in prison. When he died, his wife asked the family to attend his funeral. Well, it was a strange demand because she has been asked why. And her answer was, I want to see him under the ground. And I want to be sure that he's under the ground. Yes.
Well, I'll ask Justice Joubran. I'm sorry we didn't get to everybody's questions, but I thought you might, this question came up yesterday, or a point came up yesterday. I thought it was an interesting one. We did. The Damanya case of someone who was accused of being a war criminal during the Nazi period and was extradited to Israel for trial. And it was an unusual outcome that I think others think, and we think, illustrates the strength of the rule of law in Israel. So perhaps, Justice, you want to mention that? Or
you know,
discuss that briefly.
This case gives us the opportunity to look on the strength of the rule of law in Israel. This case was very sensitive to the Jewish people because it deals with the criminal in the Holocaust period, in the Nazi period, and he was acquitted by the Israeli Supreme Court. It doesn't happen very often, you know. And people may ask, how does it happen? How can it happen? Because he was brought to the state of Israel for a trial and he was acquitted, he was found innocent. And this is a great proof that the court system in Israel give its ruling according to the evidence only and not any other considerations. This is the right way to judge people, even including in sensitive cases like this case.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.